No. No.
Hi everyone, afternoon and welcome to our third lunchtime chat as part of Digital Food Week. This is Getting into Street Food. The chat is brought to you by Chapter 81 in conjunction with Leeds Bid and Welcome to Leeds. And don't forget, you can watch back all our chats and the TV show after the show on the website at digitalfoodweek.co.uk. So really excited about this one today. We've got a great lineup. We've got Mark Laurie from NCASS, the Nationwide Caterers Association. We've got James from Little Bao Boy, and we've got Harry and James from Homeboy's Pizza Co. So if we quickly go around a clockwise order, just introduce yourselves and maybe say how you started out. Start with you, Mark.
Hi, I'm Mark. I work for the Nationwide Caterers Association, so we're the trade association for the street food and independent food sector, mostly working with mobile caterers, but obviously increasingly with restaurants and fixed sites like that. My background is basically street food, so I helped to create the Dig with Dining Club, which is the sort of main street food event in Birmingham about 9 years ago, and that's gone from strength to strength. And more recently, I've been working on something called the Street Food Alliance, which is about bringing together all the different street food organisations around the country who are all sort of working towards best practice and supporting the traders in the right way, and bringing them all together to try and create a voice for the industry to push it forwards.
Cheers, Mark. What about you, Homeboys?
So yeah, we started in lockdown one. We're one in about 3 weeks, so we've just short of a year now. But we started basically I just started baking some bread about a year and a half ago, and then I just bought a pizza oven during lockdown, because the more you say pizza and the more you talk about bread, the more adverts you get through Instagram targeting what you're saying. So I saw a lot of Uni like sponsored adverts and just basically bought myself like a little wood pellet pizza oven to just keep myself busy during lockdown. And then just where we live, we've got a like a closed Facebook group on like a new estate. So we just sort of posted on that saying if anyone can grab a pizza on the weekend for a £5, feel free. And then we've done it every single weekend since then.
So you're an algorithm success story then?
Hopefully, we hope so. Yeah.
Yet to be seen.
And okay, what about you, Bao Boy?
So Little Bao Boy started probably April 2016. And I worked in 9 to 5, but I worked in hospitality for a lot of years leading up to it. And I was just sick of that 9 to 5 grind. So I was sort of been into food for a long time. My dad owns a little Chinese place in the northeast. So we thought we just tried bao buns out just to test the market. So we just got a little gazebo, and we did what I very naively went in to do a street food event with like 50 portions of food, and then we got absolutely rinsed. And I was like, all right, well, there's some legs behind this. So I did it alongside my full-time job for like a year, which was just gross. And then we just sort of took the plunge where the street food was overtaking my 9 to 5 life. So sort of took a bit of a gamble, and then, made a lot of mistakes, but learned at the same time, and then just kept going from there really. And then to the point now where we've got a couple of sites, permanent sites, as well as the street food as well.
Nice one. So I've got to admit that I'd never heard of a bao before I tried your bao, and I think I've only ever had one other bao other than yours.
I was second that as well.
Good.
It's quite a fun to take. Not many people are doing it, are they?
No, and when we first started doing it, there was even less people doing it. So for about 2 years, bao was a hard sell, because they were like, what is that Chinese bread? And they were like, all right, well, sound okay, cool. And then it took a long time to sort of build the brand up. But I think with companies in London, such as Bao in London, who are massive, and you see Yum Bun in London, they started helping mold the visibility for Bao, and we, especially up north, we were the first ones, one of the first ones that was really sort of doing it as the main products. That most of the time it was like a side option to something else. So we were quite lucky we put ourselves in that position, and then they've become quite popular as of late, so we've just sort of rolled with it.
And then Homeboys is probably a bit of a different story too, isn't it? Because like pizzas, there's lots of pizzas about there, but what's your kind of angle on it? Why do you think yours have taken off?
Well, I mean, first of all, it's everything we do is sourdough. So I mean, there's not a hell of, apart from Franco Manca, which is a bit more of a chain. There's no one else that's really doing like independent sourdough Neapolitan pizzas. So that's like one take, and then I don't know. I'm not quite sure. We came on this to try and get some more tips from James, to be honest, how it's all working with him.
Well, mate, I'm sat doing the video in my van. So yeah,
that's life, isn't it?
You've made it.
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess the angle that we took is that we're just trying to be like authentic on Instagram, in the sense that we are just two best mates, just trying to have fun and make some pizzas and listen to some hip hop and just anything. We just try and take influence from anything. And we feel like we've got really, I guess, like a pretty decent idea of that things that we like, probably other people will like as well. So I mean, we run as like, I mean, it's called Homeboy Pizza Co. because we're like a hip hop themed pizza business, but we can kind of take influence from anything. Like, for example, like we've been seen in Batman and Robin outfits, and that's just like from Tyson Fury, just like rocking up their press conference in a Batman outfit. Yeah. It's just like little things like that we think's funny. Hopefully, we think other people's gonna find funny. Like we've got Pokemon cards for loyalty cards. It's just anything that we think's like, I don't know, fun or that we're like a little bit nostalgic for us.
We're like, we're quite pop culture led really with it all. It's as much as it started from a mutual love of hip hop music, specifically the 90s, hence sort of the Dr. Dre album cover inspired logo, the pizza, the main sort of margarita pizza is nothing but a cheese thing. So like that was sort of like the origins of it, but it's very much a pop culture thing, like Harry said, with the Pokemon cards, with the Batman outfits. It's not specifically labeled to hip hop. We take influence from other stuff. We had recently one of our pizzas was Kenan and Kale from Kenan and Kel. So and these sort of little bites of inspiration just hit us on the head when we're not even expecting it sometimes. And then a lot of the time as well, the name comes first and then the pizza comes afterwards. So I think the benefit of us is that we don't necessarily take ourselves too seriously with it all. We just like to have fun with the business and the whole setup. We like to listen to music when we make the pizzas and a pop up, and it's just a good fun. Like Harry said, just two best mates sort of hanging out making pizza.
Yeah, that definitely comes across. Everything you said there, to be honest, like that's one of the things that I thought was a real strength of you guys. It's just a really clear brand identity. And was that just like an organic thing, or do either of you guys have like a marketing background or anything like that? Because you are very like consistent, I have to say, like and original all the way through.
Consistent. I think with consistency was important. I think right at the start, if you flick back, I don't know if we've maybe hidden, I'm not too sure on Instagram, but and look at our sort of our menus and stuff. The design of them changed a little bit, but I think we're trying to get much more consistent with how everything looks and stuff. But no, when it comes to design backgrounds and marketing backgrounds, we're complete noobs when it comes to that sort of stuff. But yeah,
I think if we think it's funny or like fun or other people like, we'll enjoy it, then we'll do it. There's nothing on there apart from like there's nothing that we've been like, oh, that's a little bit of an in joke. We're not going to do it. Like we are all for the in jokes, and it's like if other people don't get it, then that's their problem. Yeah. It's like as long as you keep it like that, we want to make it so when people come and get a pizza from us at an event or anywhere really, that they know that what they've been reading or seeing on Instagram, it's like that's us as well, rather than, I don't know, someone else writing it for us or just not being authentic from that side. It's literally we started out by setting the bar where we really didn't care what people think about us, and obviously we do, but I think that's like the authenticity comes through with like kind of Like not really, just kind of just being ourselves more than anything.
I don't know about you as well. When we have the pizza menu out and the names are all the different sort of references, I get a good little sort of buzz from when people come up and start talking to us about it, and it's a talking point. Not just someone coming up to the gazebo and saying, "I'll have a margarita, please," and then walking off. It's like, "Oh, I read the name. Oh, is that a Dr. Dre song, or is that a basketball player?" Like it's a conversation starter as well, so it helps us engage more with audiences as opposed to just saying, "I'll have pepperoni pizza, please," or margarita.
Saying that, so our sort of like staple pizzas, like pepperoni with and honey. That came from when we were watching the last Dance on Netflix about the Bulls. And there's a guy that came up to us on the weekend and was like, "Oh, that's where's that from? Is that from?" And then he just, got it completely wrong. And then there was a girl on his table and went, "No, it's from the Last Dance." And he was like, "Oh, what? How's that come from Save It from the Last Dance?" I was like, not Save It from the Last Dance. The Last Dance, the basketball. Big Pippin. Just he was miles off. It was absolutely miles off.
It's good. It's all conversation starters, isn't it? And Bao Boy, I'd say probably like a similarity between you guys is kind of like almost like your tone of voice. I feel like your communication is also quite authentic, and it's almost like how you talk. It's not like super edited or anything like that. It's literally how you talk to your customers. Do you put much thought into that?
Nah, not really. I mean, the thing is, like, especially in Leeds, for example, Harry. I've known Harry before street food, so a lot of us did hospitality in Leeds for a long time. So, and if you work in Leeds for a long time, you'll start to see the same faces all over and all over again. And it's sort of those things where it's like everyone's. I think when you come to street food, if people who come to street food and they stay in street food, all are quite similar, and they'll all have similar attributes. Like everyone wants to work really hard. Everyone doesn't take themselves too seriously, because at the end of the day, most of us are working out of a 3x3 PVC gazebo. So it's just like, listen, mate, we're working out of a gazebo, we're slogging hard, but we're here to have a laugh at the same time. So I think if you look at street food traders who are consistent and do really well, the tone across a lot of them are all very similar, because obviously you take your business seriously, but I mean, I don't take myself too seriously, to be honest with you. I just sling out bao buns, and I always, and that's how I see it.
Yeah.
But then I think when you do that, especially customers, like they see that you're putting a lot of love into the food that you're doing, so they're like, they want to have a bit of banter with you at the same time, like James and Harry were saying. So then, you find common ground with them. But we do work hard on our social media. Like, I'm dead into business analytics right now. It's one of my favorite things to look at.
I'm all about the analytics.
I love it.
So interesting.
It is my favorite button.
Mate.
Right, everyone's at 6 o'clock. Boom, press it.
Try and get an Instagram post out after 7:30 or before. It's got to be bang on.
Yeah, I literally messaged me there, like, Harry, post this reel on 7 o'clock.
7:32 is like, just do it tomorrow.
Yeah. I've got my Alexa to give me a daily reminder to be like, do a post. I'm like, do the post. And I'm like, right, I've got to find a picture that I've not used before.
That's like Instagram and social media. It's just about consistency, isn't it? And just
100%. Yeah, exactly. These days with food, your food's got to be tasty, but it's also got to be food that people want to put on Instagram. Like,
really?
You know what I mean?
I mean, you guys use it as well, and we nicked the idea off you, but we call the black and the white sesame seeds Instagram seeds.
You put it in the squeezy bottle, man, to save wastage.
Yeah, we are. Don't say it.
So, Mark, if I'll bring you in.
Yeah,
sure. So, do you think that has been a big step change in street food, is the whole like social media side of things? Because now, can you have a good product without the social media side of things, or is that?
I think it's always been essential. I think for the very first, street food obviously exists around the world. It's commonplace, in most of the world, but in sort of the West, it's reasonably new. When it kicked off, the food trucks kicked off in America, sort of mid-noughties, just after the economic collapse. It was Twitter back then, but that was what was driving the scene. It was Roy Choi was doing sort of Korean barbecue mixed with Mexican food, and he had like 100,000 followers on Instagram, and it's still illegal to be a food truck in LA, but they've got about 4 of them still driving around. Basically just go with me on this street corner at this time, see us there. And I've not been to LA, but my friend lives over there. She said people literally follow them down the road. So you see this truck pulling out from some, stop sign, and people just like, oh, that's the Kogi barbecue, follow it, and people go after it. So I think the first street food events in London were all advertised on Twitter. When the meat, what was he called back then? Not the meat liquor, not the meat market. What was it before that? I can't remember. But yeah, when Yanni was selling his burgers, the first ever street food event I was aware of in the UK, he basically just put out a tweet saying there's going to be a car park in Peckham with burgers, bring booze. We got music, and hundreds of people just turned up with 6 packs of beer and stuff. They just had a party in a car park in Peckham, and that was kind of how it all kicked off in London. And then it was always driven by Twitter and to a smaller degree Facebook. I think event organisers use Facebook because you get more data from it and you can sort of connect a lot more easily. But now it's TikTok and it's Instagram. But I think that social media has been the one thing that has catapulted street food into the sort of public sphere, because you don't need a big marketing spend. You don't need these great marketing firms and with all these great tactics. It's literally, I've got a great product, I love it, do you like the look of this, let's connect. And people, we eat with our eyes, we shop with our eyes. And so things like Instagram, you see something, I did check out both these guys' Instagrams before, and I love the Batman and Robin costume, but it is all about having great that great visual of your food. And the amount of money that was invested the last sort of 10 years just in lighting in restaurants after Instagram got big, just how do we make sure that everyone can take a professional quality photo of our food while sat at our table. And I think that it's a really easy way for people to connect, and as I think as James said, it's, if you put pizza on Instagram, it'll start chucking pizza stuff at you. And if you put bao on Instagram, it'll start chucking bao stuff at you. And it's it's ways of actually finding networks or communities of people that are into the same things. And that's that is how bao got massive in England and or the UK, and it's so common in across Asia, but it took years to really, and you go to Chinatown in London or Manchester or other places, you see bao buns, they've had them on sale there forever, but they never quite made that leap into the sort of the more general thing. So I think Instagram has been, and social media has been absolutely essential in the growth of street food and its future, really.
And so the other guys, have either of you got a TikTok account yet?
Yeah, we have.
You got a TikTok?
Yeah.
Oh, I ain't got one yet. I ain't got one.
Yeah. It's the new thing. It's honestly just
we've got an OnlyFans as well.
Oh,
no,
really?
I'm a member. I'm
Yeah, we've only got one.
Yeah, I do need to get on TikTok, actually.
I wonder who Little Bao Boy 93 was. just to kind of go back on what Mark was saying about the social media side of it. For us, it's kind of been like the ideas and also like things to compare our pieces against. It's been so instrumental, because I didn't grow up in Naples or have a pizza background, or as far as I've been to Naples before and I like pizza, but apart from that, it's like seeing what other people are doing and getting influence from them, seeing what their pizza look like and how and just trying to almost replicate that, really. And it's a little bit like the way I see it with pizza and especially with dough is like, if you see like a coffee shop that's doing latte art, that somewhere down the line someone's really good at coffee and you've got the milk right and the coffee right. Whereas with pizza, if you've got the leoparding and like a nice crust on the pizza, that the dough's going to be good. Whereas a lot of people can like rely on pepperoni or a lot of cheese on the pizza. Is like we kind of we want to rely on the dough. So if you see like black leoparding spots around the crust, then that the dough's going to be good. So
yeah,
we
kind
of rely on that and like look for inspiration from that to kind of keep our standards high.
I think it's also broadened horizons for customers. Most of people wouldn't have known what a Neapolitan pizza was 20 years ago. Really, certainly bao buns. But how would they have known? But now it's like, oh, what's that? Because people have got that interest, and because it's this whole thing, isn't it? You know, it's like,
I'll definitely say with pizza recently is like having a resurgence as well, because when you think pizza, you just think for a long time people just thought pizza shop pizza, but now there's like Neapolitan, there's Detroit, there's New York style, like there's so many different types of pizza, and now people like Homeboy, for example, are working their niche of pizza, but like a sourdough is a totally different from a Detroit, so there's you're not competition, because you can try everything and they all taste a little bit different. So I'm obsessed with pizza. I'm driving to Manchester every week to go and eat Detroit pizza.
The way that we see it as well is we're not in competition with any of the like independent pizza places. We're all in competition with
You're supposed
Domino's
to hype each other up.
Hut, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
So you know, there's not enough good pizza places, and you know, we like when people say like, oh, we've got Pizza Loco just down the road from us, from where my house is, and people are like, oh, new competition in town. I'm like, not really. If you want to put us in the same bracket as those guys, that's incredible. That's kind of what we want. It's like the way I see it is, you've got like Pizza Fella and Pizza Loco in Leeds, and if we can get put into those categories with those guys, then that's we've kind of made it. And from what we tried to do a year ago, when we're slinging pizzas in the back garden and throwing dough around and getting mad. Yeah. And now we're kind of like putting in the same bracket as those guys. It's like, well, what more do you want?
It's kind of what the essence of street food is, though, isn't it? It's kind of like modern street food in the UK. It's kind of we take a food that got watered down and sanitized and, you know, got filled with rubbish like your Domino's. You know, they started off with a pizza, and over 50 years they turned it into a Domino's pizza, and, you know, it doesn't really taste like pizza. It tastes like just fat. You know, and just saying it, put it out there. Sorry, Domino's. And okay, you know, but you know, now it's like everyone against the big guys. It's like we're all trying to create the perfect pizza. We're all trying to create the best balance. You know, and let's put it out there, and you know, let's steal that market. You know, let's show the wider world that, you know, there's a much better version of a pizza, or a much better version of a bao bun, a much more authentic version of Chinese food, or whatever it may be. And it's broadening their horizons and kind of pulling them in. So yeah, I completely agree with the homeboys there. It's, you know, it's us and them really. It's everyone trying to do good food in the right way versus the more corporate interests. And any customers we can sort of nick off, the better, because we'll keep them because we sell better food.
My first job was Domino's as well, so I know what I don't want to be like.
Yeah, I mean,
full circle.
I worked in Burger King and McDonald's, and I'm quite special about how I like my burgers and things like that. You know, it influences you working in these places. But I think everyone should. You know, if I was, I'd make sure everyone worked in hospitality once in their life, because it's a great experience.
I think that some of the when lockdown happened, the small opportunities that came for people like independents, and when lockdown started, was we could change our business model straight away. So you're like, right, I'm doing Deliveroo now, or right, I'm doing takeaway. Where these big, you know, the Pizza Expresses of the world and these big chains were like, well, I've got to get sign off from this, and their process took such a long time to happen. By that point, people like myself, people like Homeboys were like, right, we're doing delivery straight away. And then we just, within a week, you just change your whole business model to fit what people were doing. And at that time as well, is that the only thing people were spending money on was food, because that was the only thing you could do to self-indulge. You know, you can drink beers at home, but your treat was, oh, we can get takeaway for Saturday. You know, and then it helped. It really, I mean, for us, I don't know about Homeboys, but I'm probably right on saying people being at home and spending money on food helped us broaden our sort of audience. Because people were driving places to go pick up food because it was something to do. They were like, yeah. I'll do a 20-mile round trip for a good pizza. Yeah, sound.
We did a click and collect drive-through, and we set it up like I think within 2 days of lockdown happening, we're like, right, this is our plan for doing a drive-through, and we basically set up Digba Dining Club with 5 traders, and we were going to do it like a McDonald's drive-through, basically. But then the decision was actually we wanted to get them to come out of their cars and go through the building to get their food, because we want them to remember how much fun they had when they were eating street food. So as we want them to see the food being cooked, even if it's off in the distance, and then actually go through the club and have the DJ playing some music at them. But yeah, people getting in their cars and ordering food from their cars, driving over, and they loved it.
When we first started, we were just collection only, and on our first menu it says collection only. Then I think very quickly we were like, we need to deliver here, because it's just untapped, and we need to because it was not much for us to even really deliver, really.
But I mean, we were saying, well, like another thing, like we were saying to people, like, do you deliver? And we're like, it depends. And they're like, on what? I'm like, it depends on where you live. Yeah, like if it's 20 minutes away, like if it was over 20 minutes away, we're kind of just saying like, maybe not. Like if we're quiet, I'll let you know. We probably can. But if we're not, there's two of us, and then if it's 20 minutes there, it's 20 minutes back. So it's one of us out the game for like 40.
Yeah, man.
If we're slammed, then we can't do it. But if we can do it, we will. So people are like quite open-minded to either come and collect or.
Yeah,
I'm not a big fan of delivery.
Make it work well, you know, it was nice. It was nice to see people like just being open-minded to kind of help us out a little bit as well.
I mean, for me, it's just how well does your food travel for delivery, and like the amount of people who would sign up to delivery without cooking some food, put it in their car and driving 20 minutes and seeing what it tasted like. You know, did it? It was just like I just need to sell food. I think that. Really, people wanted that connection during lockdown. You know, actually wanting to see someone, even if it was for 30 seconds, just to say, "Oh, can I have my pizza this way, or can I do that, or what queue do you want me to stand in, or whatever it may be." I think people were really craving that human contact, and for me, it's you got to be really careful with delivery that your food actually does travel. Because I've got a couple from some quite big brands, and I thought I was really missing ramen at one point. Like I was losing my mind because I hadn't had ramen in like 3 months. So I was cooking bones every weekend in my kitchen, just like this has got to end. And I ordered some ramen from a reasonable ramen chain, and it was awful.
Name and shame.
Pardon?
Name and shame.
Oh,
what does it rhyme with? Ragamama.
It might do. Yeah. Yeah, it was awful. What
pop on.
Terrible, actually. But and it just broke my heart. It just absolutely broke my heart that I'd had this. Yeah, they just turned into udon noodles in my manky stock. You know, it was just awful. Like, you know, it's just about getting it right with that. And I think that one of the really lovely things about street food is that human connection. It's they can come up and talk to you. They can see you cooking. You know, if your kitchen's a mess, they can see it and walk away. If your hands are dirty, they'll see it and walk away. You know, so it's all about that theatre, and I think there's a lot to be said for that. So I'd rather see it that more people get the opportunities to street trade and to trade locally and to trade at their driveways or, you know, off private land or whatever, and try and create that vibe again of people socialising and eating out, rather than us all sat in front of our TVs eating food out of boxes.
Yeah,
so, on that, guys, so Homeboys, you've gone from serving out of your garden to you've now got a residency at Blueberry Hill Studios in Kirkstall. So, and the difference for me personally is that I'd never had one of your pizzas. I still haven't, by the way. But you're now only 15 minutes down the road, so I know I can get it. I don't have to get it delivered. Yeah, confession time. Don't worry, I'll be there Friday. You can hold me to that.
A Magic Rock.
Yeah, maybe not. And then Bao Boy, you've gone from just street food events to Sovereign Street with North Bar, and now you've opened up at the new brewery as well. So I guess how is that? That's quite a quick escalation for both of you, really, isn't it? You've gone from like jumped a couple of stages in the space of like 12 months. This is JB, who's the other Bao Boy, who's very kindly shredding the meat whilst we did this Zoom call, so we didn't have to do it afterwards.
Worker. Yeah, I mean, for us, to be fair, tap room where we are now with North Bruco, that didn't come into fruition until December 2018. So we'd already been doing it for a couple of years before we got into there. But so it took a long time of going to the gazebo, but we're quite, you know, we used to do a lot of events for North Bruco, and we used to get on really well. And I think that's a really important part of street food is number one rule is don't be a D head. Just be sound to people. Be sound. When we go down, we were speaking to people, then we spoke to North, and we really enjoyed like working with them. And they were like, "Oh, you know, we're doing we're opening a new city centre tap room. Would you guys want to come down and do the food for a bit?" And we were like, "Obviously, yeah, it'd be great." And then we just stayed there because it worked, and the working relationship works as well. So, you know, that goes back to your food's got to be good and everything's got to be good, but you as people have to be people want to have to work with you because, you know, there's no such thing as an original product. Someone else is going to be doing bao, someone else is going to be doing sourdough pizza, but it's got to turn around and go, listen, I want to work with these guys because they seem sound. So, you know, that's how we got into sort of, you know, that's how we went through and got working with North, and now we're doing other projects and this, that, and the other.
That's exactly the same delivery.
At the expense of sounding unprofessional, don't be a D-head is probably the best advice you can give to someone starting out in street food. I do a talk on it, a health and safety talk called "Don't Be a D-head." It's about how to not kill yourself or other people. But you know, it really is. It's a people game, and if you don't get on with people, or you've got a really big ego, you're not going to get on well in street food, because everyone's out there hustling, everyone's out there in the rain working their nuts off, and they haven't got time for princesses and that kind of thing. You know, you work hard, you do your thing, and you're straight up and you're honest. And if you're that, then you know people will vibe with you and they'll want to work with you.
Also, there's nowhere to hide either. Like if you're moping around and not enjoying it, and like you say, going around being a D-head, then you know the customers can see that as well. And like it's part of the theatre of the venue that you're in, is that you've got like an independent street food operator there as well to bring their own kind of like vibe to the venue. And if you're bringing just doom and gloom and just like look like you're hating your life, then it's people aren't going to order from you. Like, have you ever seen what like walk down in the market and all the butchers that are like happy and smiling, and they're the ones that have got all the business, because like I don't know, like I feel like the energy is like passed off into the meat, and you've got like all the butchers that look like they hate their life. They're just sad and they've got no customers.
Yeah. Malcolm Michaels, that's it, isn't it?
It's not
the one with the microphone.
It's not a coincidence. It's just like the people that like they're like, you're just drawn to them, and then you're like, right, what food are you doing? Rather than like, right, they're doing that type of food, and then you go over and they're like, you know, it's all kind of like part and parcel of the same like goal. It's all people liking people thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
and you know, people if you've got a phone, like if you walk past a store and someone's just on their phone, it's just like, just keep walking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not interested, you know. But so that'd be my other bit of advice: don't take your phone with you, or tell your staff not to have them out. You know, and just keep moving. There's a great street food trader in London called Nick Paella, and he's got that's not his surname really, but yeah, one of his sort of policies is there must be constant movement on the store. You know, if there's nothing happening, then you need to pick something up and start cleaning. You know, because
I agree. And a queue creates a queue. When people used to queue, I don't think anyone queues anymore. But when there was a
Might
queue,
never queue again.
Yeah, innit?
Yeah. I mean, that's another skill of street food, though, isn't it? Managing that queue. You know, it's when you got a small queue, get them talking. When you got a big queue, get them moving. You know, and it's actually about, you know, your front of house managing that for you, so that you can give people that bit of a bit of one-to-one if you're a bit quiet, and then that queue forms behind them, and then off you go again. So
also, Soul Destroying doing an event with Bao Boys as well, because they when at Chardown, when first people sat down, we're just like, right, just waiting for the checks, and there's just bows just going bows, and we're like, what's going on there?
We secretly just send out free food for people. So
even if
we've lost about £2,000 looking at it.
We saw it.
So, Mark, I'll come back to you again then. So we've touched on a couple of like principles there. Like what would you say are the key things to make it in street food?
Have the right attitude. So, you know, don't be a D-head, I think, but be positive. Be ready to work hard. You know, one bit of advice I was given once was start in the winter, because if you can handle the winter, then you'll survive the summer. It seems a little bit brutal to me, but there's something in it. I think, you know, understand that, you know, you're going to go in with a plan, but that's going to change quite quickly. You need to be agile. You know, agility is key, and you're kind of developing a product on the fly. So, you know, you're not going in with a set product and going, you know, like a Wagamama's would, we've developed this product, it's now for sale. You're kind of saying, oh, this is my product and I'm working on it. You know, and so listen to your colleagues, listen to other traders, listen to your customers. But yeah, I think it's about being true to yourself. I know that sounds like a WE thing to say, but you know, it's, you know, you've kind of got to be your version of authentic. And I think that, you know, Homeboys have found theirs. It's like, you know, we are who we are. We're up front. We love it. We love hip hop and we love pop culture. And, you know, this is our pizza inspired by that, you know, and that's clear. It's not pretending to be anything they're not, but they're selling a good product with a smile. And, you know, it's that kind of thing that is what helps you succeed. It's having a positive, open attitude and being honest about your product and listening to people. Really, I think it's not rocket science, really. And don't have a massive menu. If you've got more than 3 things on your menu, you're an idiot. That'd be my other bit of advice. And know what your GP is. At least within the first 12 months, try and find out what your GP is, would be my advice, because most street food traders haven't got a clue.
Don't know what a GP is.
What's GP for the general practitioner? Never know where your GP is in case there's an accident.
It's also good to know that, actually.
That is also, no, both. So, you know what your profit margins are, your gross profit on your food, basically. That then you could be selling lots of food and making no money, which still might be a lot of fun, but you've got to pay the rent, haven't you?
Exactly. Yeah. What about you, Bao Boy?
What's the golden? What are my golden rules?
Yeah.
Don't be a D head is definitely the number 1 rule. Number 2, I'd go back to what Mark was saying, is for the first year or so, be prepared to be stood up for 17 hours straight and do that for 4 days straight, because that's going to happen. I would also, anyone get into street food, because I went into this thinking it was an all year thing, and it's not. Well, it is, but it's very seasonal. So January, I did it and I was like, oh my God, we're doing really well. So I was like, I'm going to spend this money, buy this clothes. And I was like, I'm skinned. I got no money. Because like December, January, February are tough months for street food. So people just try and do as much events there, and then just try and save up a little bit of money. And then I'd probably say the last one is be prepared for things to go wrong. And when they do, try and be as chill about it as possible. I've set my gazebo on fire twice. And the first time I was like, oh, well, I'm just going to die. And the second time I was like, I've done this before. Don't worry. So you might not set your gazebo on fire, but, street food events can be very sort of we had someone once, they were like kissing the couple that were kissing, and they were smashed, and they leaned against the gazebo thinking it was a brick wall, but it wasn't. And then they tipped both my 9-litre fries over in the middle of a street food session. And it was 190-degree oil, and I was just like, right, I'm going to die again. So I'm going to die. But we fixed it and we moved on. So when things like that happen, because they will, just be like, right, deal with the moment at the time. And then I guarantee 95 years later, you'll be laughing about it. But, things will go wrong.
Never underestimate the public's ability to nearly kill themselves.
Yeah, man. They're really good at it.
Lean on something, they'll fall on something, they'll pull a plug out. So I go, what's that? It's like, why did you pull that out? Then have a fire,
Your blue plasters will fix everything.
Yeah. One of the first ever dig with dining clubs, there was this toddler, and he was pulling on a red hose into a gas bottle round the back. And I was just like, where did you? I just stood there looking at this event, and I just scanning it. Everything's fine.
That's so funny.
Pulling at a gas bottle hose, flames everywhere, and I just reacted. I was like, screamed, kid. Like, I can't say it until after the watershed what I actually said to this child. He jumped about 2 foot in the air, and his dad tried to have a go at me, and it was just like, unloaded on him. I was like, your child nearly killed everyone in this car park. You know what I mean? Because you're not a good parent, and now you're shouting at me. It didn't go well. But people will fall over, will drag things over, will fall into things. It's insane. So do everything you can to try and keep people away from anything dangerous.
Yeah. What's the worst thing that's happened to you, Homeboys?
Valentine's. So we were still in the back garden during Valentine's. At that point, we're mainly just taking pre-orders. So we did a collaboration menu with Cinnamon. And so we had, we were busy, we were really busy, and had the gazebo had blown over overnight, and the weights for the gazebo, like 3 of them had come out. So it blown over and essentially snapped one of the legs. So we couldn't fix the sides up. It was raining sideways. It was about It was about zero. he loves it. Look at it. He knows. It didn't get above zero all night. So the one thing with when you stretch pizza dough, if it's cold, especially frozen, it doesn't stretch. So obviously trying to maintain cost, keep just not wanting to waste food, and we didn't make loads more than we needed to, but things were just going so wrong. It's just so windy as well. So yeah, that night was one of the worst.
Because it was during that time when we were doing
it was absolute hell.
Yeah, it wasn't
but with a smile. It was hell with a smile.
We got through it.
Was it the week after I gave you the weights?
That was the weekend after. That was the weekend before we asked for the weights.
So real.
Yeah. But I mean, we were thinking we're going to need another gazebo for tonight, because it was like one of the legs had completely snapped off. So it was like, it was like, it was held. It was hanging on by, if it was a kid's tooth, it was ready to get some string tied to it and slam on the door.
I mean, the worst I ever saw, we got asked to go down to a London borough because they'd had a problem with hand washing, as in caterers weren't using it. So we'd gone down there and sort of talked to them about that, and then got this really sheepish call a couple of weeks later saying, I think we got a problem with gas. And we're like, oh, how come? It's like, well, someone blew up yesterday. And they didn't specifically blow up, but their whole unit did with them in it. And they were the only thing left standing. And the first day of trading as well. And
wow.
can you come down and see us and have a word about gas? And so we did that. And we had a coffee in this coffee shop. We went outside into this market, and the first guy that was there had he was stealing electric from the lamp post, which had been used for the electric Christmas lights, and he was the electric cord had wrapped round the lamp post, then wrapped round his gazebo, and then finally anchored round his gas bowl. So if he had an electrical fire, he could quickly turn it into a gas fire as well.
Jesus.
And it was insane. It was absolutely insane. And we were just stood there like, where do we even start with this? And then the EHO we were with just turned around and was like, oh no. And we're like, what? And it's like, she's back. And the trader the week before just joined the end of the market without being allowed to. She just like,
oh, this is amazing. This is the best I've ever heard.
We went over and saw her, and we're like, where did that food come from? And she was like, well, how did you get it here? Back seat of my car. How are you keeping it hot? Just like, right, have you got a risk assessment?
Keep it hot in the back seat of the car.
Yeah. She just had like one of those little gas burners underneath a pot of nondescript stew with some tin foil around it to stop the tiny little candle from going out. And we were just like, you're a death trap. You're going to kill other people. You need to stop. But yeah. But I mean, I think the best I ever saw actually was probably in Thailand. I saw a lady with a gas rice cooker on the back of a moped, and obviously the back of a moped is where the gas tank is. So it's just like, if that goes wrong, that is going to go seriously wrong. But she seemed fine.
I reckon she sounds like she had it done to find out.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I mean, that is a thing. She probably absolutely has it nailed. But from a layman looking on, I was like,
if
an Englishman sees that and goes back and tries that on some cobble roads, we're in all kinds of trouble, But street food can be a little bit.
So I guess that feeds in a little bit into like NCASS's purpose in a way, Mark. It's you guys aren't just, well, you're there for health and safety, but not like to lay down the law and be like, no, you can't do this, you can't do that, but you're there to support street food businesses and make sure they get it right, because you want them to be successful.
Yeah, I mean, we got to back food law into what street food is, because street food is reasonably new compared to how we tended to run hospitality in this country. So and it's stripped back hospitality. It's taken away all of the fluff and just giving you a great product with a smile. So there's a lot of kind of explaining to people who are not necessarily from a hospitality background what they need to be doing and how to do it safely, but it's also kind of understanding how street food operates and making sure that it matches up with the laws. Because food law doesn't really care whether you're in a restaurant, a hotel, or on a street corner. It just cares that you can sell the food safely. So it's about trying to make sure that the guys out there doing it are up to date with what they need to be doing. We distill the information in a way that's hopefully easy for them to understand and to implement within their businesses. So yeah, it's for us, it's about simplifying some very jargon-filled laws and making them accessible and easy to deliver on for food businesses, and especially sort of small micro food businesses. So yeah, we are, health and safety and food safety are absolutely pillars of what we do, but it's more about making it achievable for businesses than enforcing anything.
Now, just say something. We're really sorry because we've got to go and view this warehouse that we're going to now to sign for a new thing. So we're going to sign off. But just on what Mark was saying is, for us, NCASS has been like second to none in helping us, because we didn't have a clue with stuff like that. And then we could call NCASS and we could go, listen, I'm getting an EHO check. I need help. And whoever I was speaking to, I think it's called Laurie, was my account manager. This was years ago. She was like, yeah, so we're going through this, and this, and this, and this. And I would say the best piece of advice for street food is, like Matt said, EHO doesn't care whether you're a street food trader or whether you got bricks and mortar. You got to have all your ducks in a row, and NCASS does that for you with very, very easily. So all our sites use NCASS, and I would implore anyone to do it, to use them, because they're great. But this is we would love to chat, but I'm gonna get scolding from this person who's been waiting for me outside this warehouse. So peace and love, Homeboys. I'll be seeing you soon anyway. So see you later, guys.
Cheers, James. Nice one. Thank you.
All the best, James. Cheers, guys.
Yeah. So I mean, well, what we'll do is probably start to wrap up now anyway. But I guess Mark, just wanted to finish with you on. You touched earlier on about sort of bending the rules and how street food just, believe it or not, he loves it. How just street food have always been kind of not making up as they go along, but kind of like testing the boundaries because they've had to, because it's like setting up, selling stuff in a space where people haven't traditionally sold things before, and it's emerged out of that financial crash and just like the necessity for street food businesses. So I guess how can people looking to be street food traders now, or like the Homeboys, for example, how can they take that in the right spirit? Like, because you're quite an advocate of trying things out and doing things differently, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that it's important to be safe and to get everything right, but I think that there's loads of opportunities at the moment for good businesses, but I think that you kind of, as James said, you've got to get your ducks in a row first, because street food is still reasonably new, and when you're in the scene, you forget that that you're in a scene and that other people aren't necessarily aware of it, and you start talking to local authorities and stuff, and they're like, well, that just sounds awful and dangerous, so you kind of need to have that level of professionalism built in, but I don't think there's ever been more opportunities for street food in this country than there are now, and that's only going to increase. I think that we're seeing all of these big chains are abandoning the high streets. All of the big retailers are abandoning the high streets, and they're giving up space that businesses in Leeds, micro businesses, small businesses, independent businesses can now fill. The way that the economy is shifting massively, and it's opening up opportunities for people. So I think it's about kind of staking a claim for that. But if if you've got your ducks in a row, if you are delivering a safe business and you can confidently say that, and hand on heart say, I'm on top of this, then you'll succeed. You'll make it in those areas, because people will take you seriously. And as much as these guys clearly love a laugh, as do I, there are times when you have to be serious, and you do. You just crack on, and you prove to that EHO or that local authority or whoever it is that you are on top of it and you know what you're doing. And just because you've got a cheeky smile doesn't mean you don't know what you're doing. So I think that it's kind of about, it's us. It's a bit of a PR job, really. It's about us kind of showing the world, and especially those in authority, that we know what we're doing and we're professional, but we're doing something really interesting that should be given a chance. So, I think really it's not too hard to get on top of what you need to do. I think also in terms of if you've got a business, then at some point you're going to want to grow it. You're going to have aspirations for that. It might be that you want 2 or 3 sites. It might be you want to go into a restaurant. It might be you want to get into production or something like that. But wherever you want to take the business, having the right foundations in place reasonably early, because quite often people do just fall into street food, like these gentlemen here. So, you can fall into it, but as you're falling, start to put those foundations in place so that you can build a genuine, strong business moving forwards. Because otherwise, your whole thing could fall apart because someone gets food poisoning, or because you didn't have hand washing when the EHO turned up, or something like that. So it's just about making sure you do all of the things that you're legally obliged to do, and then cracking on with all the fun stuff.
Yeah, I think just quickly to second on that as well, like there's as much as it is like rewarding, and it's great fun doing all this, there is so much that you have to do behind the scenes before people see the smile, and like before you see you having a good time. And as rewarding it is like having your own business and making your own money and making the food that you're genuinely passionate about, there is so many more hours where you're not smiling, you're grafting, you're putting the hours in, and that's what kind of makes it worthwhile when you do get to an event and you've put the you put the hard graft in, you've got your ducks in a row, then that's when you can have a good time. It's like I guess like preparing for a fight or like a box or something like that. It's like they've got weeks and weeks worth of fight camp where it's grueling, like and grueling stuff, but it's all worth it in the end because you've kind of like it all boils down to that like one event or that one thing, and that's kind of what it is for us. It's like a lot of hard graft that a lot of people don't see, and then they think that it's just like a fun thing to do, and it is, but only if you put the time in before to make it fun. Because there's been time where it's not been fun. We know why. We weren't prepared, or we didn't think it was going to be that way. And just the more preparation you can do, yeah.
And it's costing that in as well, isn't it? It's what people don't realise is, you work 2 days a week. It's like I work 6 days a week, but I'm just spending with them trading, and it's I've got much prep to do, I've got this to do, I've got that to do, and I think that it's a bit of a weird one when if you've absolutely nailed it and you've got it right, then it looks simple. So if someone walks past your business and they think, oh wow, that just looks really simple and obvious, that's because you are so on top of what you're doing. It's when people look flustered, or people doing the same job and bumping into each other, that kind of thing, that they're losing money. It really is about refining systems that work for you and your business, because you're selling 1 or 2 products. You're not Michelin restaurant with 20 chefs in the kitchen and brigade. It's you and a couple of ideas, and you're flashing them out. So
I think one of the most rewarding like events that we did, and not just because he's sat in the background, is Chow Down, because they gave us an opportunity where other people weren't, but it was just we were really, really young and as a business, and we're new. And it goes from like when we first made a pizza to get to like a nice pizza to, should we start selling them? And then it's like making 40, and it's like I can make 1 good pizza. I don't know if I can make them 2 order, and I can make 20 in a night. And then it's like I feel like we can kind of do that now, but can we make like 100 a day and like 2 order and like fast, so people and like keep the standards up? And like that was coming off the back end of that. It wasn't obviously like because it's busy, you can make a lot of money at big events like that. But it was actually like we came out the back end of it being like, we can genuinely do this. Like I feel like that's a big ticket item is Chow Down for the year. And if we can kind of knock that out of the park, then we came out of that thinking like we can definitely do this.
Yeah, that was definitely a turning point for us, Chow Down, because like Harry said, we literally went from maybe doing sort of 40 or so pizzas over a weekend to doing way over 200 in the same amount of time, and it was just a huge step up from what we were doing. And like you said as well, we're still very young and still quite new to this. At the time we only had our 1 wood pellet oven, which we didn't even attempted to do Chow Down with. That would have been an absolute nightmare. So we had to rent a couple of gas ovens for that, and it was a massive learning curve, but at the same time really beneficial. Even we had a massive lack of sleep over the weekend, but it was very much worth it, because we came out the back of it with a whole new sort of wealth of experience from it, and it definitely gave us the guts to say, we can do this.
So what's next for you guys then? What the ambition? Do you got like a 5-year plan, or is it literally like 1 year plan?
Well, we've literally just started at Blueberry Hill, so we had like a few events booked in. Some of them we've had to kind of turn down because it's as much as we wanted to do all the events of the year. Because one of our big things to get to this point was just let's just say yes to everything. Like we didn't take any weekend. We did, and if we took, I think we took 1 weekend off. In fact, I don't think we did. We just took because we were doing Saturday and Sunday. We only ever took one of those days off for 6 months until we started doing until we could start doing some more pop-ups. And then when we got to Blueberry, like they said, like we kind of at the end of like the last lockdown, they said that we want you guys to kind of come and do a residency, and we were like we kind of wanted to. We didn't want to say yes, we'll come and do a residency, but then we're doing 1 or 2 weekends a month for the next 6 months, so we kind of had to scrap some of the things that we were originally going to do. So we're just at the minute we're just trying to build taking inspiration from what James does with North. It's like trying to build that rapport with Blueberry. That, I mean, we've already got, but like trying to build it as a brand where we get associated together. Whereas I know kind of going to a North tap room now, you're gonna be able to get a bow. Whereas we want to like establish ourselves with Blueberry, where if we go down to Blueberry, we'll be able to get pizza.
Sounds good. It sounds like a sensible plan.
And it was so I was going to touch on that. It was just more of like the start of the year. It was just like Harry said, we had all these opportunities, things with Northeast Food Festival and Rocky Downs, etc. And it was more of like a balancing act, really, because with the opportunity that we were given at Blueberry, we really want to do most of our weekends, and we didn't, like Harry said, we didn't want to sort of say yes to those guys and say, oh yeah, we'd love to have this place as our headquarters or residency, and then literally only be there for a few weekends, and we've got all these other pop-ups elsewhere. We wanted to do them justice and spend time there and build a brand there, like Harry said. And I suppose, I don't know about you, but I think when we have a 5-year plan, we kind of take it as it comes. That's just sort of how we've always rolled with it. We plan stuff obviously, but we sort of just take it as it comes and
we've got a trailer down at Blueberry Hill now, so it's just about like it's a shell at the moment. So it's like we just need to start building that and make it our own, and just kind of get that up and running. So we're kind of it's, at the minute it's a shell. We've not even used it yet, so we need to get that built. And just looking forward to how that plans out, because like the first few weekends we've done there, it's been better than we could have ever imagined. So
the turnout's been
and also just to note as well, the guys at Blueberry have been so good at us. They didn't ask us to cancel any of our stuff, or they just wanted us to do whatever we could, and they just have us whenever they could, and whatever weekends we could do. And we just, I guess from that made us want to go back there more, and we just got great. It couldn't be better for us. It's perfect. They know that.
It sounds like you've got a really good relationship with them. Mm-hmm. Right, so I tell you what, let's finish up. What I would like to get from you guys now is just maybe one tip for someone that everyone should try. A street food name. Mark, I guess yours will probably be Birmingham centric, but
I'd say Homeboys in Sheffield, Nottingham, who do Japanese fusion food or Japanese inspired soul food. A guy called Pete Hewitt. He was in I think he was a MasterChef finalist at one point, but he does just beautiful Asian inspired soul food. It's just stunning, but there are absolutely loads. I mean, list is long my arm.
Yeah, there is loads.
What about you, Homeboys? Any
I was recently just there's a girl on Instagram called Plates by Anu, and she is Nepalese, and she does similar to what we do. She cooks all at home and does collection and delivery on a weekend, and they're what we call like momos, and they're little steamed dumplings, and I think she steams them and you like fry them and reheat them, and just like she's just like a little banging sauce. And it's just, again, like what we really like is when people just do like one thing but absolutely smash it out of the park and just make it perfect. And I would they were way better than I thought they were going to be. So, and it's also like Nepalese food's not very prominent anywhere, so I would urge anyone in the Leeds area to try that. They're insane.
That's a great shout.
Also, I think he's been to Leeds a few times. The Everybody Love Jalmuri Express. If you ever
say that again.
Everybody Love Jalmuri Express. Guy called Ang just drives around in a van doing.
That sounds class.
It's mental.
And what is it?
He does bel puri. So he just does like Indian snacks basically, but he's got a zip van that he drives around, and he just opens it up, and he's just got this all like Indian everywhere. He just serves it in the street, or he goes to music festival as a customer and then just gets a trolley out and just walks around selling food. He doesn't really care about the rules, but he's a lovely man, and and his food's excellent. But he does this whole. He's been on a couple. I think Rick's Stein. He was on a few other things, but he just does like how he talks about the food and the energy within the food and things like that. It's just sort of almost like a magic show. It's beautiful, and the food's amazing. And it's all served in magazines he's stolen from dentists.
All right. That's ace, guys. So thanks for recommendations. Thanks for your time. Thanks for the chat. And street food traders, get onto market, NCASS, get involved. It's going to help you out. Make sure you're a success. If you're in Leeds or beyond, check out Homeboy's Pizza Co. down at Blueberry Hill Studios and at Magic Rock for the next couple of weekends. Thanks, guys. Take it easy.
Cheers, guys. All the best.
Yeah.